Hello friends, Sarah Sunstone here, and welcome back to Wish I Knew. In today's episode, I will be sharing some beginner tips and tricks for Wanderstop, a cozy narrative-centric game about tea and change. The game is out now on Steam, PlayStation 5, and Xbox, so be sure to visit the link in the video description to learn more. Thank you so much to Ivy Road and Annapurna Interactive for taking care of creators like me and sponsoring today's video. And now, without any further ado, let's get right into it. In Wanderstop, one of the main activities you will enjoy while managing the tea shop is growing your own ingredients to use in unique brews. And while Boro does an excellent job at explaining the process to you early on, there are some extra tips and tricks that I picked up along the way that you might find useful. As a refresher, you will be able to grow small and large hybrid plants by planting different colored seeds in unique patterns. The small hybrids are created by planting 3 seeds in a line and will produce additional seeds for your garden, while the large hybrids will grow when planting seeds in a triangular pattern, and these hybrids specifically are the plants that produce fruit, which you can use in your tea recipes. All of this information can be found in your field guide, and here you can keep track of which patterns and combinations you've already tried, along with which you haven't yet. Also, once you've grown a fruit for the first time, you will be able to read through a description of its properties and effects, which can help you determine which ingredients you should use in specific customer requests. However, before you even start gardening, it's worth noting that although there is a more clearly indicated dirt patch for the garden, where Boro will initially bring you, you can actually plant seeds almost anywhere in the clearing. So don't feel like you need to restrict yourself to just this one area. There are also many fill stations for your watering can around the clearing, so take some time to familiarize yourself with where they are, so you don't need to run to the opposite side of the clearing every time you need a refill. As for seeds, Boro will give you some in the beginning, but you can actually find tons of seeds just lying around the clearing and inside the tea shop. Some can be found out in plain sight, while others are hidden in dirt piles and overgrown weeds. Also, keep an eye on the adorable yet cheeky Pluffins, who can often be spotted carrying around seeds, and they'll sometimes have their own little stash kept near their coop. Now, I personally really enjoyed growing and discovering all of the hybrids following the pages of my field guide. It was really fun to test out all the different possible combinations, and very exciting to witness the most whimsical hybrid plants emerging right in front of my eyes. Since I loved the process so much, I would spend lots of time fully focused on this task alone, first trying out every combination of small hybrids to stock up on seeds, followed by growing every possible large hybrid to discover new fruits ahead of taking orders. With this approach, I was able to immerse myself in the joy of gardening and felt very prepared to meet customer requests. Now, it's also important to note that the hybrid plants will produce more than once. All you need to do is harvest the existing seeds or fruit and then water the crop again. You can rinse and repeat this process to collect more goods as long as the plant is still glowing with golden sparkles. Once it stops glowing altogether, the plants are done producing, and the small hybrids can be replanted for decoration. You can do this by using an empty pot, many of which can be found around the tea shop. I actually got in the habit of keeping an empty pot in my main gardening area so that I could easily rearrange any of the plants if things were getting a little messy, or if I wanted to move one of the small hybrids into a nearby planter. You can also replant as many times as you would like. However, you can also completely remove the plant by using your shears. But keep in mind, you won't receive anything in return if you do this. One other tiny tip I learned when gardening, which seems like such a minor thing, but I wish I figured it out sooner, is that instead of picking a seed or fruit and then stashing it in your pocket, you can simply use the stash button to harvest and stash all in one button press. This should be square on the controller or Q on your keyboard. Now, speaking of stashing things, you will be limited on pocket space, and there is no storage system. However, in Wanderstop, you don't really need it. In my experience, I never hit a limit on seed storage in Alta's pockets, but you will be more limited for other item categories like tea ingredients, tools, and other items. As such, I have a few little tips to make things smoother for you in your gameplay. First of all, you can set things down on tables, tree stumps, and shelves if you need to free up some pocket space. Next, once you've grown an assortment of fruits, just pick 1 or 2 of each type to stash in your pocket, but then leave extras on the plant until you actually need them, since the crops won't wither. Tea leaves can also be left directly on the dryer and they won't burn, so you can have a few tea balls ready to go without collecting them and taking up your pocket space. As for other items, the various trinkets and photos you collect will actually share a pocket space with mushrooms, so I would suggest leaving the mushrooms in the ground until you need them, which won't be until a little bit later on in your gameplay. I mention this because I personally was so excited when I first saw the mushrooms that I filled up my pockets with them, and then I had no space to pick up other items. So I ended up just replanting them all to free up space. Speaking of mushrooms, as a little fun bonus, if you spot a mushroom ring somewhere in the clearing, maybe try planting a plant or a seed in the center and see if something happens. Of course, you will be brewing all sorts of magical teas for the colorful cast of characters who pass through the shop, each with their own unique stories to share. You will be given a comprehensive tutorial on the grand and elaborate tea machine before meeting any customers, and again, all of the instructions for using it can be referenced in your field guide. Try not to feel overwhelmed with this elaborate contraption because you'll get the hang of it and memorize the steps much quicker than you might initially expect. Although the ingredients for each brew will vary, one thing you'll almost always need are the tea balls. And these do take quite a while to dry, so I definitely recommend always having some prepared. On the other hand, there's no need to worry, since your customers will happily wait as long as it takes for the perfect brew. The game as a whole really has no time pressures. There is quite literally no clock in the game. In fact, you can start up a tea brew and leave it partly finished to go collect ingredients or take care of other matters before returning to finish the brew. It won't go bad, it won't go cold, and you won't have to restart. If you'd like to make each brew extra special, you can even find a variety of cute and quirky mugs to serve the tea in. These can be discovered by chance when sweeping up leaf piles and when clipping thorns. However, they will be dirty when you collect them, so you'll need to run them through the dishwashing train first before serving with them. Although doing this doesn't have any impact on the outcome of the order fulfillment, it's just one of those simple things that can bring a touch of joy to your gameplay. While you can take all the time you need to brew the perfect cup of tea, if you do get stuck on an order, there are some steps to take to problem solve. First, double check the initial request, which is tracked in your field guide, to remember what the customer asked for. Next, visit the large hybrid section of your field guide to read about each fruit, searching for clues or characteristics to match the requests, like if the ingredient is caffeinated or if it might evoke a certain memory. You can also ask Borrow for help, who will often offer you a suggestion on what to try next. And if all else fails, you can consult a special book found in the tea shop library that will actually give you the direct, exact answer. Borrow will even tell you about this book. It's no secret, but it's up to you whether or not you use it. I personally thought I would never use it. However, there was one order that I simply could not figure out no matter what I tried, and so I caved and checked the book, only to discover that it was not yet possible to make the recipe. I wonder if that's exactly what the game designer intended. I wonder if it's a bit of a test. This game is a whole experience, you guys. I can't wait for you to try it. Also, a super handy feature that I would recommend getting comfortable with using regularly is pressing R2 on the controller or the spacebar if you're playing keyboard and mouse to reveal where every character currently in the clearing is located, so you can easily deliver them their order or just talk to them in your downtime. Now, in terms of customization, I'm going to offer some suggestions without giving any spoilers. First of all, if a character offers you a special item as a thank you gift for helping them, I would recommend accepting it if it's something you'd like to have, because these items will often be displayed somewhere in the clearing, reminding you of the interesting folks who have crossed your path. Another suggestion I'm going to make, perhaps more important than the first, is to take pictures. You will be able to find a little handheld camera in the tea shop on a table near the radio, and when equipped, you can take pictures around the shop and out in the clearing. The best part is that these pictures will be printed out, and you can actually display them in the photo frames around the tea shop. Although there is a limit to how many pictures can be displayed, definitely take pictures of your favorite sites, maybe even items and trinkets if there's one you absolutely love and would like to commemorate, or just of the adorable pluffins, your favorite tree, the skyline, whatever it might be, and display them before you forget. Don't procrastinate on this. Also, if there is a picture frame that seems out of reach, look for a nearby ladder to climb, because these will slide along the wall and swivel to help you reach higher heights. Some of the characters will also offer you pictures or posters as gifts, which can also be displayed in the frames. Finally, you can find a collection of books, some of which are offered as rewards for returning lost parcels via the mail. So as another bonus tip, don't forget to check back to the mailbox because you'll occasionally receive packages. I would highly suggest placing these books in the tea shop library to add to your collection little by little. Now, feel free to take these suggestions or leave them. I know they might sound a little obvious right now or maybe even odd, but just trust me. There's a reason why I'm making these specific recommendations, and once you've played the game, you'll know exactly why. But at the end of the day, Wanderstop is hands down the most unique cozy game I have ever played. I highly suggest playing this game for yourself and avoiding spoilers to get the full experience, because there will be many moments that will leave you completely speechless and perhaps turning inward to reflect. So my final and most important tip is to enjoy and appreciate the experience. Specifically the process of what you're doing at every moment in the game. Unlike what you've perhaps become accustomed to in the average cozy game, don't make any decisions based on a possible outcome, because this game has so many twists and turns, not just in the story, but also the gameplay itself. So be playful, pick up and pet the pluffins, observe the world as it goes by, brew Alta a cup of tea, and take a moment of rest with her as you enjoy the beautiful soundtrack and stunning sights. In fact, sometimes when you do this, she'll actually open up and share her thoughts with you, so you can both reflect together. Don't be afraid to try new things, play around, and see what happens. If you're looking for a game that is just built different, definitely consider trying Wanderstop. You won't regret it, but you might cry a little, or a lot. Well, there you have it, friends. I hope you enjoy your own journey with Wanderstop and that it teaches you something new about yourself, or maybe even the world at large. Let me know what your favorite kind of tea is down in the comments. If you're playing this beautiful game, anything and everything, you know I always love hearing from you. Thank you again so much to Ivy Road and Annapurna Interactive for sponsoring today's video. And with all that being said, thank you so much for watching. I love you all, and until next time, take care.